And good morning and welcome to the Real Monica Adams Show. Thrilled to have you with us on a Tuesday morning. Now, we are going to do generational talk. Today, we're going to hear from the silent generation. Kind of kitschy, right? The title says The Silent Generation Speaks Up. And today, we're going to hear from Dianne Isbell and my mother, Mama Jacque, is here today. They will be joining us here in about 10, 15 minutes. We're going to give you some news you can use. We've got some really good information that I want you to implement. We're going to talk about the flooding that's taken place in Lincoln County, how we can help out those in Ellsbury, and feel free to pop on, say hello to your community. Again, this is your show, and if there's a topic or a guest you would like for us to have as we get ready to wrap up summer in the next month, heading into fall, let us know that. Just, again, reach out to me at info@therealmonicaadams.com. Hope you're having a great start to your day. Let's get into the weather, and I'm so happy to tell you that this crazy hot spell we had has almost broken. Okay, maybe about another day or so into tomorrow night, you'll see there will be some changes in the next couple of days. 97, though, for a high today with that heat index of 108 to 110. 79 for the low tonight. So again, you can see the Cardinals are in action. Be sure to dress appropriately. Tomorrow, heat index of 104, but then a 50% chance of a storm, and that actually is going to help us. As that comes in, the temperatures start to go down. By the time we get into Thursday, a 40% chance of rain and storms, 82 for the high, and then 81 as we get into Saturday. So it has come up just a little bit. I know earlier in the week we were looking at 77, I think, for the high. So we'll be checking in with Beckett when we come to Friday to see if he still has the 80s in the forecast. But look at that. 80s stay around with beautiful sunshine into the weekend. And then we get into next week, starts to come up again, but in the 80s, upper 80s, 87, 89. Wednesday, Thursday, back into the low 90s. The low 90s, at least, coming back, but we're not talking that oppressive heat, at least for right now. Granted, that is a good 10-day forecast, but we'll be keeping an eye on it and, again, trying to keep you cool. So, again, good morning to you. Let everybody know that we're on. Pick the platform. Looks like we're on Facebook and YouTube as well as X and Rumble and Instagram. LinkedIn evidently didn't want to fire today. We talked about the flooding. So we go from heat to flooding, and those in the Lincoln County area, Ellsbury to be specific, they could use your help. Donations and volunteers are needed. We talked about the story yesterday where they're saying that it is some of the worst flooding they've seen in a long time. Some of those residents dealing with mold already. Evacuations actually took place. Rescues had to take place. So now, again, if you can help out, we're very big, right, in helping our community. They are looking for donations and volunteers to help with the cleanup effort. So remember that. We talk about the heat, and did you know that certain medications can affect you when you're dealing with the heat? In fact, they can affect your skin. So let's break this one down for you. As you see on this particular slide, the medications can cause some heat generation, reduced heat, blood pressure issues, dehydration as well. So be very aware. According to the FDA, medications like Accutane or doxycycline react with sunlight. Doctors say these medications can cause you to get sunburned more easily. Being in the sun for just 5 to 10 minutes could cause a bad sunburn. Certain antibiotics and non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs can have similar effects. For a full list of medications that can impact your skin in the sun, I'm going to ask you to look at the comments. I'm going to put those in for you right now so that you have all that information. And if you see your medication in that list, you might want to talk with your doctor to see if there's anything in particular that you need to do. All right, St. Louis County under investigation by the state attorney general. So if you look at any of the news stories today, you will see some issues in the county. This time it has to do with our county under investigation. The investigation stemming from a mailer sent to county residents earlier this year about Proposition B. The proposition would have given the St. Louis County Council the ability to fire department heads appointed by Sam Page, the St. Louis County executive. The county used taxpayer money to sound out that mailer. Page's office previously defended the mailer as allowable public education, but a spokesperson for Page did not respond to multiple requests for comment on Monday. So this is another one of those stories that we say is not over. We also are going to talk about Senator Josh Hawley. So he is wanting to send tariff rebate checks to you. Okay, I'll take that. Americans deserve a tax rebate after 4 years of Biden policies that have devastated families' savings and livelihoods. Like President Trump proposed, my legislation would allow hardworking Americans to benefit from the wealth that Trump's tariffs are returning to this country. That is a direct quote from U.S. Senator Josh Hawley. According to his office, the American Worker Rebate Act would provide a tariff rebate check this year to American workers and to families with similar parameters to the direct payments passed by Congress back in 2020. Also ensuring the amount of the rebate is at least $600 per adult and dependent child. For example, $2,400 for a family of four. It also allows for a larger credit per person if the tariff revenue exceeds current projections for 2025. So again, you're hearing this saying, oh, I love this. I love the fact that there might be more money coming my way. So look in the comments right now. We are going to post the full bill so you can check that out more in depth for yourself. Okay, we're talking about money coming to you. Well, these ladies, I think we could borrow some from them. Suddenly you might want to say that you're a niece or you're a cousin, long lost cousin. These are the world's richest women, folks. And we're talking about the wealthiest women. You ready for this? They have 25, not M, but billion dollars or more. Wow. Congratulations, ladies. The richest women in the world have more in common than luxury lifestyles. They're holding stakes in the global economy. The world's wealthiest women didn't just sit on fortunes. They inherited empires, scaled them, pivoted to new markets, and in some cases rewrote the rule book in industries dominated by men. And some of them run businesses behind the scenes while others practice they practice in the arts and the sciences and the tech. Most of these women hold significant stakes in private or publicly traded companies. They are Alice Walton, with $118 billion. She is the richest woman. Francois Myers, $93.4 billion. Number 3 is Julia Fletcher Koch and family, $80.5 billion. Jacqueline Mars, $50.3 billion. Abigail Johnson came in 5th with $44 billion. Mackenzie Scott, $42.9. Miriam Adelson, $39.6 billion. In 8th place, Iris Fontbana and family, $35.7. 9th and 10th, Savitri Jindal, $32.2 billion. And then in 10th place, Suzanne Clatton, bringing it up with $31.4 billion. Now, what we'll have to do is look in and see if any of those are from our area or any ties to the St. Louis area. So I'll look into that one a little bit deeper today, and I'll do a follow-up if in fact it is. But congratulations to them, right? Go women. I love to give you a feel-good story of the day. A 2-legged rescue chihuahua. Look at this baby right there, helping to save its owner from a widowmaker heart attack. Yes, an Atlanta man says he may not be alive today if it weren't for that cutie, alerting him to a life-threatening medical emergency. Andrew and his dog Champ, pretty much inseparable now. It's been that way since he adopted the Chihuahua 7 years ago after the dog was rejected at birth by its mother. And he said, I quote, they were going to get rid of it for good. And I said, no, you're not. After he fell asleep on the floor a few months ago, Champ suddenly started acting up and pushing on his owner's chest with his hind legs. He doesn't usually do that. He would cuddle or jump, but it was a little out of the ordinary. He said, I knew something had to be pretty wrong. Moments later, the man said what Champ was trying to tell him is he was having a heart attack and he needed medical care right away. The dog then alerted the wife to come and help. At the hospital, doctors quickly determined a major artery in the man's heart was blocked, a so-called widowmaker, because it's often fatal, but doctors were able to save him, and he is convinced it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Champ. Way to go, puppy dog. Right? I'm telling you what, they are so unbelievably smart. And beyond the unconditional love, they do have this sixth sense about them. All right, if you're in the home buying aspect, we're going to get into that. Next week, we'll be visiting with Dot Fleshman, our real estate executive. But today, I want to tell you about now being the right time to build your dream home, the unexpected advantages of new construction. So think beyond the sticker price, unpack the true value of it, your vision, your home, your customization, your modern living, the current market advantage, incentives that you can't ignore. You can get a free 10 by 12 composite deck in some communities in Wright City, a free golf cart in Newtown area of St. Charles, some generous flex cash offers that are throughout a lot of the areas in Newtown as well, making that smart move. So again, you might want to look into, if it's your time to get a house, is it time right now to build? Think about that. All right, we were talking about one animal, Tower Grove area. They are mourning the loss of a beloved pony. Look at this sweet baby. Yeah, unfortunately, in that area, a lot of you that might go to Tower Grove might remember seeing this baby. Sheffield passed away Sunday, according to a social media post that was, again, in the Tower Grove area. A Shetland pony called the stables at the park home for over 10 years. So rest in peace to that sweet baby. Now, in sports news, if you're a fan of Deion Sanders, you might have already known this. Otherwise, he came out and said he has bladder cancer. Deion Sanders has bladder cancer, but plans to coach still the Colorado Buffaloes this season. The coach disclosed yesterday he was diagnosed with an aggressive form of bladder cancer, but after surgery, his oncologist has considered him cured. So he plans to coach this season. He said, it's tough. Wasn't a cakewalk, wasn't easy, but he arrived to a news conference yesterday wearing a cowboy hat and overalls along with his sunglasses, which fortunately he did remove after getting choked up. He said it was a fight, but we made it. So congratulations. By the way, there's a tie from a dear friend of mine here in St. Louis who dresses him. To a shout out to Bespoke, where I do my custom work. They are his clothier. Deion Sanders, so happy that you are cured. All right, I have good news also with regards to baseball. The Cardinals pulling out a win. They beat the Marlins 7-1. Same two teams today, again at Busch Stadium. Game time is at 6:45. And then in your National Day of calendar, we've got a few things on tap. Might want to go grab some chicken wings today. I can't believe as a personal trainer I'm telling you to do that, but it is National Chicken Wing Day. It's also National Lasagna Day, and my guest Diane's going to laugh at this one because she told my mother to put some on. Today is National Lipstick Day. There you go. You are all up to date in what we consider to be some things that you might want to use as news you can use. Let's see, Rose. Monica, when you're seeing if any of those wealthy women have ties to St. Louis, look in to see if I'm related to any of them. You've got it. And good morning to all of you that are just signing on. All right, do us a favor. Tell everybody that we're on and we are getting ready to cover generational talk. Now, Zach's going to have to let me know if I'm right on this. I think it's our fourth. Is that correct, Zach? Okay, good. Fourth iteration. Now, the very first ones that we did were more with mine and younger generation. We have not gone above me. We're in fact going to go into it's interesting that we're going to say this, the silent generation. And boy, are they going to speak up today. We've chosen two very classy and eloquent women. One, Dianne Isbell. We've had her on multiple times on the show. You know her as Hats by Dianne. And then my mother, who's also been on the show many times, Mrs. Jacqueline Adams. So the two ladies are in the studio with us, and we're ready to unpack what the silent generation wants you to know about their generation.
Carroll House Furniture Homes look the best because of our free design service. Our designers please your taste.
Let's reimagine your room with 50 brand name choices.
We'll create a 3D design with a 360 view for your room.
Free design services are just the beginning. Free 0% financing, fast free delivery and setup, and the guaranteed lowest prices in the country with no stipulations.
You'll get a perfect custom floor plan for your new dream room.
Carroll House Design, because you like nice things.
Discover your full potential with a personalized styling experience. Designing, customizing, and transforming the looks of men and women. Revamp your individual style and embrace what makes you, you. That's real confidence.
And good morning, everyone. It is time to talk to the silent generation. Don't be silent. You can address yourself towards me. Don't be silent. Today they're going to speak up. So let me introduce you first of all. This is Dianne Isbell. You've probably seen her several times on the show before, and my mother, Jacque Adams. Ladies, thanks for coming in so early, and thanks for driving in from Illinois.
Well, thank you very much.
I
for
didn't let
having
her
me.
drive. I drove her in from Lake St. Louis. So we've done several generational talks, and you've been very active in them and saying, I love these, because the reason I started it is to get generations to start talking more and truly talking and listening to what other generations are hoping that they would understand about their generation. A lot of it has to do with respect. So before we get into this, Dianne, give everybody, because they may not have heard your story, beyond the hats by Dianne, you have taught etiquette for a long time.
Yes, I have. I was a director of protocol for a big major command during my federal career. And so I told officers when to salute, when to sit down, what to say, and all kinds of things. And I love that tradition that we have with the military. But it taught me so many other things about how important it is for the respect that we show to other people, and how we dress, and how we feel about ourselves and others. So I've been writing a column for the Belleville News Democrat for over 30 years to answer questions from people, which has really been interesting. So I love that area, and it is part of my background, as well as designing hats.
Absolutely. And Mother, for you, I know you might talk to your grandkids. I remember a particular incident that happened, Dianne. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but we were in Punta Cana. And I just remember this so vividly. And my nephews were playing this music, right? And there's so many F words in the music. She happened to be, see how she just did this? Yes. She happened to be in the bathroom taking a shower, and I kept hearing it, and I was like, you might want to turn that off before your grandma comes out, right? And he didn't move. And I said, hey, you might want to turn that off before your grandma comes out. And he's like, no. And I said, turn it off. And I started to get really upset. I was mad at myself for getting so angry feeling. And I was like, nope, see, you got to temper that down. But I felt right away a lack of respect. And so I went over and hit it and turned it off immediately. And he looked at me, he's like, what's the big deal? And I said, and I shouldn't have said this. I said, what are you, stupid? And he looked at me, he goes, oh, you called me stupid. And I said, your grandma's getting ready to come out here, and she would be livid to hear that. And he's like, you all give too much power to words. So I'm going to start with that. Dianne and Mom, what are your thoughts on that? Am I correct that you would have been offended?
Oh, gosh, yes.
And I know that in the list of, Dianne did so much work, by the way, in research. One of the things that you talk about is foul language.
Yes, and I brought with me today George Washington's book on rules of civility and decent behavior, which he wrote when he was like 16 years old.
Oh,
Some
wow.
say 14, some say 15, but it's a translation of some rules. And one of those rules is not to use vile and terrible language in front of others. And I think that is so applicable today, because it is so offensive. It's not necessary. I don't know why it's in some of the movies so much, but it just gives me a rankle every time I hear that
Yes.
word.
So let me ask this from generation to generation, because if we go back to your generation growing up, you wouldn't dare have used that in front of
no.
anyone. I mean, you
No.
wouldn't say it to each other, but you definitely wouldn't say it in front of your elders. So where do you think the disconnect happened to where it started to be allowed? Because we can think about this in what I used to do, radio and TV. You would get fined, right, by the FCC if we were to have said anything that would be remotely offensive. Now it's in movies. Now it's allowed. If we wanted to, we could do it today on podcasts. We don't.
No.
I don't, because I was raised right by her. But where do you think suddenly society said it was okay to run rampant in movies, in music? Now it's almost unheard of that people don't just use it in regular conversation.
I think part of it comes to that latchkey generation. And that's when hip hop and all of that came into the arena. I think that the dressing of, the more casual clothes and just everything sort of started to slip. We talked before about the etiquette pendulum, and it goes back and forth. I think now we both agree, Jacque and I, that it's coming back the other way. But there was a period, and I think, unfortunately, hip hop and the rock the hard rock had something to do with that.
Yeah, we were talking about the generations. If by chance you don't know the breakdown of the generations, these two are in the silent generation, and we're going to put on the screen. There's your breakdown for you, by the way. So the lost generation, which I don't know anyone, but if you know someone that's still alive in that, that would be amazing. The lost generation is 1883 to 1900, and the greatest generation, 1901 to 1921 or 1927. Silent, which these two ladies fall into, 1925 to 1945. Now, Dianne is right there on the cusp. She's almost into the baby boomer. So 1946 to 1964. I'm in the Gen X, the forgotten generation. I never knew that we were called that. 1965 to 1980. Millennials, or Generation Y, they are 1981 to 1996, sometimes referred to as the lost generation. Gen Z, the Zoomers, 1997 to 2012. Gen Alpha, by the way, is 2013 to 2024. And then I looked even deeper. Now it's Generation Beta, which is those that were just born in this year, 2025. So all of you find out where you fit in all of that. And I would love for you all, whether you do it live right now or you do it later and say, hashtag replay, hey, I want to comment on what Mrs. Isbell or Mrs. Adams said. So latchkey. And you were talking about latchkey yesterday, Mom. What do you consider that terminology to mean?
Well, I guess it was the time when a lot of women worked and, the family, and they had to put their kids, somebody babysit. So I figured that it was that you were left a key, then you kind of just let yourself in, out, whatever, and you were, just on your own to do whatever you wanted.
More trust back then?
I think the respect went away.
Well, I think it's interesting, though, if you look at that generation, and a lot of things that happened while I was growing up, you had no way to communicate with us. There were no cell phones.
Yes.
You trusted us. We respected you to come back at dark. If
Yes.
not, there were problems.
There were, then you were in trouble. Yes.
Well, yes. And that's the other thing is, whether you want to weigh in on this or not and say, oh, yeah, but people actually would get out a belt and they would smack, and those things shouldn't be done.
Yeah.
You shouldn't hit your children. Then it was time out and go in the corner.
That was.
What do young parents do now to reprimand a child? Do we know?
I think they take away your cell phone.
Oh, okay. Tell me, by the way, what do you do?
That's what happens. They restrict them on their social media.
Yeah.
And I think they're sometimes restricted to the house for a while.
So no
Yes.
technology.
No
Yes.
technology.
So that's a
and
big deal for that to be taken away. Do
Yes.
you believe, as my husband sometimes says, that we are growing a nation of softer human beings? Do you know what I mean by that?
No, I don't.
So he means, you do. What do you think he means by that?
Well, it's like they said, I guess like sometimes they would say if something went wrong, like just chalk it up and go on, keep going.
Just deal with it.
Just deal with it or work through it and make it happen, right? Not just go, okay, oh, well, it's.
He more so means that we all walk on eggshells and, oh my gosh, don't hurt their feelings.
Oh, yes.
yes.
That's
Okay,
what
see?
I think too. I think that before we were a stronger people.
Okay. Okay. Well, and that's really good. So with your generation, I absolutely 1000% agree with you. What you all have lived through, and you want to talk about some of the things you've lived through in your generation, what you all have overcome, I would absolutely say you are a stronger generation than we are. Just think about some of the things. What do you think are things that you all were able to live through that I don't know if the younger generation now or even my generation would withstand?
I think for me, it was more of the isolation. As an extrovert, I grew up on a farm. There weren't neighbors really close, and so we played with our siblings. But we all had chores to do. We had work to do, and we rarely got to see other kids and interact with them. And I think for me that made a difference. I went to a one-room school, but yet I have a graduate degree, a master's degree. So I think that. We were told we could do anything we wanted to do and be good at it, do it right the first time, and be responsible for what you do.
Mhm.
I mean, that was important. If you were told to do something, like
did
feed the chickens, and I didn't do it, I was in trouble.
Oh, yes.
So, and I'd agree. So we also look back at your generation. There were families with more children.
Mhm.
Now you're looking at parents having maybe 1, 2, maybe 3. It's
Yes.
almost unheard of to have as multiple children as we all saw when you were growing up. You lived in a household that was how many square feet?
Oh, don't know.
Maybe
Very small. We had 3 rooms, kitchen, bedroom was my mom and dad's bedroom, and living room.
But the bedroom, like the living room, you would walk through the bedroom. Like it was like
Yeah.
it was a shotgun house with 7 children.
And then the living room had sofas that towed into the bed.
Where did you all sleep? I was just thinking about that. There were 7
Well,
kids. Where'd you sleep?
Okay. We had the sofa bed that then just went down to a bed. Fran slept on my eye of the same. Bill, my younger brother, slept at our feet, the opposite way. Then when it got more, that my dad built a room in the basement.
Oh, okay.
And then we girls got like our own room down there. And then I remember that was a opening for, used to be a heat duct. Well, it was just open. And sometimes when my mom and dad went to sleep and I'd be down there, I would stand on the bar of the bed and peek my head out to look around upstairs.
If you're just tuning in, we're talking with my mother, Jacqueline, and Dianne Isbell, the silent generation, speaking up because, again, they're asking for respect, not just for them, but for respect for oneself, right? I always pick my intentional word of the day. So today was just a natural to pick respect. So if you could say, and we're going to go through a lot of different things, but if you could say one major thing that you think is wrong right now from generation to generation, Dianne, what do you think that would be?
I think it's respect. Jackie and I talked about that before we came on the air. And I think without that, then you have everything that breaks down. If you don't have self-respect for yourself in how you dress and how you act, then you send that message to someone else, and that's how they're going to treat you.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate.
You agree with that?
Oh, I definitely. And I was even told that when I was younger, and I guess that was just natural to act always and talk with respect. And some of the, I forget his name, but there was this one gentleman, and one of our friends that we bummed around with, and they would always say, "Oh, that everybody would talk better around me than they did other people because they respected me more." And I went, "Okay, thank you."
Interesting.
So, yeah. So how
some
you
people
talk.
command that.
Yes.
Because of how you were raised. So Dianne and I have been friends for a long time, and she's always written me privately. She's just the sweetest woman in the world. She will send me emails. "Oh my gosh, I loved this outfit you had on." Or, "Oh my gosh, the picture of you in gym. You're so well dressed." That comes directly from my upbringing.
Yes.
So where did that disconnect happen? Because you and I discussed this, and we'll go ahead and go into this topic right now. On a regular basis, I think we both get a little disheartened or disappointed by multiple generations. And I'm not going to blame it on a younger generation. I see it across the board.
yes.
Let's go into an area where we all believe you should dress up. Church.
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Yes.
It irks me to be in church and walk in with shorts on.
Pajamas.
Yes.
Yes. And I go, what in the world? That it's like you don't have respect for yourself, but you don't have respect for God. You're visiting a king and you're going to just come in sloppy.
This is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to look at comments. I know some of you are going to say, "But God doesn't judge. He doesn't care what we're wearing." What's your comment to that?
But
Yes, we owe that to I think the Lord, to show respect for the house of the Lord. It's just ingrained in me. We always wore our Sunday best when we went to church. And to see people come in pajamas or whatever just shows to me a lack of respect. It's like they wake up and they just throw something on and, "Oh, we're just going to church." But you're not just going to church.
You all would make, and I actually, my mom knows this. I told Jim, I said, "Let's make Sunday our day, Jim. Let's go to church and let's go to brunch." So it becomes an experience. Let's go together, and then let's actually, and ideally, let's talk about what the sermon was about. What did you get from today, right? And then just carry that through the day. But you're right. Sometimes it is, it's a chore. We feel we have to do this when it should be we get to go to church. And again, I'm not saying that if you don't go to church that you're a bad person. Not at all. We're looking for respect across the board. But I do want to know what you all feel about that. I have a feeling you're going to come back and say, well, at least we're going. It doesn't matter how we're dressed. This is such a sticky subject.
I know. I brought that to the attention of a pastor that I really dearly loved. And I said, I'm concerned about how some of the younger generation is dressing when they come to church. And he said, well, the important thing is to get them here. And I said, I realize that. But the more we lower the bar in society and all the things that we do, the lower it is going to get. And I think that's when we start to lose the respect for not only where we are, but the people we are with.
Absolutely. Because it just gets to a point where it's accepting. Well, this is accepted, so we keep going. And then the bar keeps going lower.
It's tolerated.
The standards used to be way up here. Your generation set the bar really, really high. And I'm hoping that the pendulum will swing back up there. Gwendolyn just said, good morning, my friend Diane. Thank you for introducing Gwendolyn. If you haven't seen that show, maybe I can have Miranda grab that from YouTube. Gwendolyn, Pleasant. She was amazing, and I love her book. So grab her book, by the way. Let's see. I started off in a shotgun house, Jackie, in Arkansas, and later 4 rooms were added. We were taught to respect our elders and to give great customer service in the workplace. Okay, that's a very good one that we can go to. Terry says, I'm a Gen X. I feel that this generation was more disciplined with punishment of our actions or words. We would be grounded, yes, if we overstepped any disrespectful acts. Absolutely. And that's what I was saying before, that I don't know where the punishment is now. Diane believes, and you can all let us know, that it's taking the technology away. Some even got soap in the mouth for using bad words. Yes. We had to do chores to make money or extra free time. By having to do chores, it taught us how to be and to learn respect. I think over the years, many changes have happened. I often think cell phones are the issue. I think social media definitely can be. And I would love to go back in time to drinking water out of the hose. Yes. Leave It to Beaver and Fantasy Island shows or Love Boat. Many shows and movies now show violence and vulgar language. Yes, that's a good point. Jeannie said, it's a lack of respect for oneself when you dress inappropriately. I do believe going to church is key. Perhaps they will learn by example. Okay, and then Gwendolyn says the Most High God might not judge your clothes in his house, but he does care about your attitude towards him. You spend hundreds of dollars to dress for the school prom, but come to church looking like you just left the cotton field. Gwendolyn, very good one. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Keep those comments coming in. I may have missed some of them, but you can, again, drop them in live or drop them in a little bit later. We just want to hear from you, and I really do. I want you to ask your young kids, right, if they are in Generation Alpha, if they are in Gen X, Gen Y, Millennials, I don't care. Weigh in about your generation, because again, we're not saying that any one generation is correct. We're just asking you, what do you mean by this? Or why do you think you dress this way? When we come back, we're going to hear why you think it's okay to call that generation, my generation, any generation above you, sweetie, babe. See, she cringed. Yeah. We're going to go to that with Dianne Isbell and Jacqueline Adams when we return. This is my wonderful role model, one of my best friends.
She's, oh my gosh, you got a long life. You could probably live to be 130 or something. And I said, oh God, I hope not.
It's getting hot in here. Yeah. Don't take off all your clothes.
I'm not going to take off my clothes. On the radio tape, going to be
Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. We're gonna speak. We're not gonna spank anybody. We're gonna speak about knowing your value, and then I'm gonna.
I'm gonna spank them.
If you don't know your value and you don't grab hold of how important you are, I'm gonna spank you. Folks, you never know what you're gonna get with her. Welcome back again. Thanks for tuning in to the Real Monica Adams Show. This is always a popular one, very interactive with all of you in all the generations, because again, that is what this show is about. Let's get everybody watching, everybody listening, and letting you weigh in. So Zach's in the other room. Miranda is moderating for me right now. I would love to see them weigh in on some of this. And again, no generation is correct and almighty. It is just asking us for respect. Okay, Dianne, I know this one really makes you cringe. So let's say we are out to dinner together and the waitress comes up to the table and calls you sweetie or babe or sugar. What happens in your mind?
Well, I think sometimes, unfortunately, I actually cringe in front of them.
Yeah.
It's difficult because that is just so inappropriate and disrespectful. Years ago, when I would go to the bank in the drive-thru, it was "Good morning, Mrs. Isbell. How are
Yes.
you?" And then one day, this young girl, much younger than I, said, "Well, good morning, Dianne." And it's like, "Oh, excuse me. Do I know you? Have I been interacting with you a lot?" That was my first impression, but I did not know her. And so I said, "Oh, I'm fine." But later I called the bank manager and I said,
Oh,
"I'm concerned about something. I think I've worked hard to earn my title of Mrs. and I don't really expect some younger generation to call me by my first name unless I tell them it's okay." And he said, "Well, this is a new policy that we have. We're going to try to build new relationships, a warmer, friendlier atmosphere." And I said, "Well, I can tell you that from my perspective, the older generation, that is not the right approach. That's not going to work."
so Dianne, that is absolutely a topic. And in Generational Talk 3, we discussed this. And it was very interesting. I think this is a topic that I need all of the generations to weigh in on, because there are many that said, "Oh, I didn't find it respectful." And I said, so I wonder if it's all in how you're raised. Now, I did, when the two of you walked in, I did ask you,
Yes.
right? And I think that's how you approach it. So,
Yes.
Dianne, would you like her to call you Mrs. Isbell? And if you said yes, there we go, then she would, right? My team's very respectful of that, but it's also teaching. And for them, I think it's more of an awareness of, well, maybe we need to ask Mrs. Adams. And if she says, "Oh, call me Jackie," then she's given you that right.
Yes.
You can then take it from there and decide, I just don't feel like. I've told her before, I have friends that I went to grade school with, and if I run into their parents still to this day, it is still
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. whatever, even though I've earned the right getting older to probably say, and even for you, I was introduced to you as Dianne. So, okay, she introduced herself to me as Dianne. I can call her Dianne. And that's the other thing. Don't call your parents by their first name.
Oh, yeah.
No.
She did one time.
That's because you can't hear, and I say Jackie.
No, but kids will do that. Keep going, mom. All of a sudden they call you Jackie. And you turn, and then they,
Yes, but regularly, no.
But regularly, no.
Let's ask this though: do the two of you? Because I think if Miranda weighs in, she'll maybe say a little bit more about this. Are you two okay with being called ma'am?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
think it is a label that refers to someone
A
older?
little bit. Oh, yes.
You do.
Yes.
Okay, so Jim will say it
And-
even younger. Yes, ma'am. To even a younger generation.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He
It's just
takes it as respect.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there are a lot of people, actually someone who used to work with us that said, "Don't ever call me ma'am." And she's in her 40s because she looked at it as old. She's
Old,
like,
yeah.
"I'm not old. Don't call me ma'am." What about holding the door for you?
Oh,
Definitely.
yes.
Do you
Every
think that's
stranger
gone away?
Yes. Yeah.
No,
Behind
I-
you.
I don't
Oh.
think it's gone away. I think the younger
I
generation.
don't think so either. I mean,
I have found that when we go to restaurants or something, there's always a polite young man or his father will say to his son, "Get the door,"
Yeah.
So
And
they are
hold it for
teaching them
everyone.
yeah. And the
Yes.
It
ladies
doesn't matter the
also,
age.
you know,
Right.
they'll go and before they let the door slam at you, they hold it and they'll wait. "Oh, come on, I'll hold it till you get here." You know.
Yes.
We were in church on Sunday, and again, what I'll do is if somebody is holding it and I'm, a little ways away, I'll hurry up. Okay, thank you so much.
Right.
But that comment right there, we went into the break and we were talking in the break. How many of you believe that the two words, "thank you," and the other two words, "you're welcome," have been lost in our vocabulary?
To a certain extent,
Yes.
yes. And-
Now, that's a generational thing.
Yes. Part of it sometimes I think is you give a compliment to someone and they don't have the self-respect. They don't feel that they deserve that, so they
Yeah.
don't say thank you. And I had a friend tell me that all the time. When someone gives you a compliment, you say thank you.
Yes.
Okay,
you.
so, and that's the thing, I can't remember the exact wording, but one of the things that Jim and I have been paying attention to is at a restaurant, oh, it's you bet. So we'll say, thank you, you bet. Or you gotcha, or I gotcha, I got you.
Yeah, I
right?
gotcha.
So where did all that come from? I need the younger generation to tell me about that, because that is the one that he will say, you're welcome, is
Yes.
the actually,
Yes.
that's the appropriate answer, is you're welcome. My mom also said, and I have talked about this one in past generational talks, when you're driving and someone lets you in, what is the natural thing to do?
Go, thank you. Or
Yeah, we'll
something.
sometimes go overboard because windows are tinted
Yes,
to be like,
put the window
out the
down.
way. Exactly.
Thank you.
It is not, they don't have to do it.
No.
No.
It's respect.
Yes.
So, right, see, the underlying theme of this entire show is respect across the
Respect.
board.
Well, and also I think I try to do something kind for someone else every day. Now, it might only be that part where I let somebody in who otherwise would be just petrified about, am I going to get my fender taken off?
Oh, yeah.
But that's just one way of showing kindness too in the world.
There are too many people when they are driving that they are in such a hurry, or
That's
they're
what I started
so
saying.
into themselves
Yes.
that they will speed up to not let you in.
Yes.
No. And cut in front of you deliberately and going, oh, you almost caused an accident.
Well, and that's where a lot of them are coming from. If you are just tuning in, Generational Talk 4 with Dianne Isbell, Mrs. Isbell, and Jacqueline Adam, Mama. Those are my titles for the ladies. We're going to get into the technology aspect, since that is, in fact, some of the generations right now. And so feel free to again, weigh in on this. Jeannie, who's watching us from Texas, says, I love the South. It's Miss Jeannie, Mrs. Kemp, and is it Mammy or M-A-M-E? What would you take
I
that
don't
as?
know.
I think Mame.
Ma'am
I
or
thought
Mammy?
It could
just
be Mammy.
ma'am.
I don't know.
Right, or
They
it could
say
be
a lot of
ma'am
ma'am.
spelled that way.
Yeah.
So yes, and that is one thing that we've talked about is if you're introduced or a child is being introduced, they might have it as, this is Miss Dianne.
Yes.
This is Miss Jackie.
Yes.
Miss Monica. And I'm great with that because
Yes.
it just feels so
Yes.
much warmer and airy. And the South, right? It's the
Yes.
it's the Southern class that they have and the sweetness they have. Rose said, I think you should always, and she capitalized this, always respect the silent generation. They've earned it. They are my favorite generation. I call them ma'am or sir. That's how I was raised. And then Terry says, as a woman, I often almost always open the door for people that are older than me. I do it for kids. It doesn't matter the age.
Yes.
I think that is something that is taught from the generations and goes in line with respect. Babs, good morning, by the way. Barbara Goldson, Mrs.
yes.
Goldson, I love you, and I wish that you would be able to be with us on one of these very soon. She said, I love this show today. She said, oh, man. Okay, LOL, man. So yes, but I need all of you. I don't want to just hear from mine and older. I want to hear, because really we do need to get our younger generation to speak up. So Joe, okay. Joe just said, you are focusing on one of my pet peeves this morning. I miss the formality of wearing appropriate clothing. Watching TV news anchors and guests wearing an open collared shirt and suit jacket without a tie is irritating, Joe says. Casual dress beats out traditional clothing. I think they send a message that casual is okay in more formal settings. What do you have to say about that?
I disagree with that, but I think
Yeah.
part of the problem, what caused all of this was COVID. You know, people were at home, they worked from home, and they could dress more casually. They rarely went out, and when they did, they just put a mask on. You
Yeah.
couldn't really
So
see
you
who
couldn't
it
really
was.
see who it was.
But I think that was part of it. And of course, now we have the generation where these youngsters have only known technology. They grew up, and when they're in the car seat, they have this video in front of them to keep them occupied when they're in the car. And they learn how to do that so quickly that I think that unless you have a face-to-face dialogue with people, sometimes you miss that connection.
Right.
And they have a tendency not to listen because they're so busy doing something else.
Again, Zach and Miranda, I want you to weigh in. Feel free to type into the comments so I can look at your comments. I would like to know what they have to say about this, because I agree with you. When we got into the pandemic, I think it did a disservice to them. While they were
Yes.
in school, they had to learn via Zoom. They lost social skills. We're going to get
Yes.
into the younger,
That's
even
true.
younger,
Yes.
those in grade school. Even those in kindergarten, they weren't able to go to school. So when you lose out on a year and a half to 2 years of what is taught, and a lot of it is the beginning aspect of socialization, you're backwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're really going to have it drilled into them of getting up and being able to speak and look somebody in the eye. That's a matter of
Yes,
respect as
yeah.
well, but it's also confidence.
Yes.
Right? There's a lot of people that they haven't been taught the confidence side. So Dianne put this together for us. She said, compare these generations to the Gen Alphas of today. So this is, again, 2013 to 2024. The first generation born entirely within the 20th century, characterized by its early exposure to technology and diverse backgrounds. Many in this generation have possibly not worked at all in an actual office atmosphere. They've worked from home and are allowed to still. They can be casual in their attire because they do not actually have visual contact with anyone. They don't want to be desk bound with a computer. They're into podcasts, back to beauty, makeup, and fashion interest, board games, going to the movies, if they do go to the theater, hanging with friends, more careful about what they post on social media. But here's the positive of all of you, right? Their computer and technology abilities are amazing. And I think this is such a really poignant aspect that you came up with, Dianne, and that is, and I know a lot of times we all have to remind ourselves to slow down and teach you technology and to be
Yes,
patient with you.
Yes.
It is so frustrating. I mean, you can't buy a ticket without going on to Eventbrite and doing all these things. Then you have to be able to print it out and you have to have the app. And it's, it is frustrating for me.
You're at the theater and you have to have your phone to find your seat or do this or buy a ticket, whatever. I go, you're used to coming up to a ticket office and a person there and they spoke to you and they said, yes, hello, how can I help you? And I went 1 or 2, 3 tickets or what? No, now it's like, okay.
QR code. Scan the QR code. Here's the barcode.
But just to
Scan this.
So to me, what do you hear by that? I hear more job loss because we've gone to this. We can do it all ourselves. It's all, here's the crazy thing. It's all self-service on the phone, but all the fees are still tacked in.
yes.
That I don't understand.
You didn't, that's like them, they'll tack on a fee or something. You
multiple.
didn't do anything for me. I came in here, I got my food, I got whatever it was, and you want me to tip you?
Oh, well, the tipping is a whole nother story, by the way. So let me go back to that for a second, though, and ask with regards to teaching, right? Technology is just, I mean, you better try to keep up. AI, a whole nother level of another show. But when you all say, look, this is foreign to us, you have to understand that this was what we did in our generation. What is the best way for us to help you?
I think we just have to ask. And sometimes older people are embarrassed to ask. And so we try to struggle with it when there's the neighbor next door who says, anytime you need anything, just call and ask, how do I get this done?
There used to be, and this is again kind of old school, there used to be computer classes. Are there still?
I think there are with PSOP and places like that, which is important. And I've done that.
Yes.
But I think the other thing that is sort of irritating for me and my husband is when we go to a restaurant and we have that little thing there.
To check out at your table.
We have to check out. It's like, please, we just wanted to relax and get away from the technology. We're not looking at cell phones, but we've watched a couple going to dinner and they sit there the whole time and they're not talking to each other.
Yeah.
No, our children, that are there with their parents for dinner time. And I like the idea of when you have a family dinner, which I hope that people do, is no cell phones. Or put the cell phones, girls,
leave them at
out.
home or
put it on airplane mode, but maybe you have to be taught what airplane mode is.
That's right.
But that's okay.
It's I think that people don't understand, like when you travel, for instance, and you're in coach and all of a sudden some seats open in the first class.
Who do you give it to?
Who do they give it to? The people that look like they're the type of person that would belong there. You dress more appropriately for that.
That, it's also, let's go, I don't know how many of you use public transportation, but if you were on a bus and you see someone come on that is older than you get up out of the seat and you offer it to them. If they say they don't want it, that's one thing, but you should. And it usually was that you offered it to women first.
Yes.
I don't think that. Now it's just everybody, it's become a very narcissistic society. Everybody's into themselves. What do you think about the word entitlement? Here we go.
I'll defer to Jackie on this one.
Okay.
No, somebody that just comes along and I expect you to just do this for me or give me this because I'm entitled to it. No, did you work for it? No, then you don't. deserve it.
Oh, we have struck a nerve here.
Yes.
What do you think?
Well, I agree too. I think that in building a relationship first, talking to people behind the counter, it's like, oh, good morning, how are you?
Yes.
What's wrong with that? I mean, when I go into some organization or some place of business and I get this, you can tell right away they don't want to be there. They're really unhappy. And I believe if you put a smile on your face and you walk in somewhere, or you on the other side of that, if you just greet someone, say, hi, how are you? Oh, it just makes you relax a little bit. You're not tense about, oh, this is going to be a difficult conversation. You know,
It does. I think it makes it more light and airy, and it breaks any uncomfortableness in a conversation.
yes.
I read something just a few days ago that talked about a smile and what it does to cortisol levels. Even if you yourself don't feel like you're having the best day, put a smile on your face anyway, right? And then see if it helps you cheer up just a little bit. They talk about how stress goes down by just smiling.
Yeah.
Right.
There was something that was even if you're on a phone, smile
Yeah,
while
you
you're
can hear it.
talking
You can
because you
tell.
can hear it comes through. Where then if it's not, and you're grumpy and you're talking, you can tell, oh, that person's in a bad mood.
We were taught that when I first started in radio. Put a
Yeah.
smile on your face and the listeners will be endeared to you. They can
Yes.
hear that you're happy and that you want
Yes.
them to be listening to you.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay. So let's go back. And again, Zach and Miranda can let me know if I'm missing any, because I think on this particular phone, they just kind of bounce through and I miss some. We all do things differently, Jeannie says. All generations should have self-respect, respect for one another, and regard for human life. Younger generations are angry. And sadly, I believe social media and politics have created monsters. Ooh, that one's got a lot of legs to it. So, Jeannie, if you're still watching from Texas, why do you think they're angry? Rose, Miss Dianne and Miss Jacque, you two aren't going to the teapot after the show and talk about us Monica maniacs, are you?
No.
But you know what? Rose, are you coming to the tea spout? Not to the teapot, but the tea spout on Thursday. I told you.
I hope so, yes.
You love tea,
Oh, I
right?
love tea.
She loves going
I
out
do
for
teas.
tea. And you dress up to go have tea,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Terry, we need to help them by slowing down,
Yes.
being patient, respectful to help walk them through each step, maybe even have a class that they would participate in, but mainly going slow because it is very, let's see, I can't click on more here. Oh, shoot, I can't see the rest. Oh, here it is. But it is because it is very complex for their thinking. And remember to be respectful, not sarcastic. Look, I have to do my own checks with my mom sometimes. Sometimes I'll just go, here, give it to me. But that is doing a disservice to you, right? It is, never mind. Let me continue to walk you through it, because if I just take it and do it for you, I've not taught you.
Yeah.
And I always look back at that. You probably know what I'm talking about. There is an image or a little poem that always is around Mother's Day that circulates on social media. And it is a very frail old lady and her daughter with her. Oh, see, that's got to chill. It makes me cry each time because it says, remember, darling, when you couldn't walk, how I helped you walk. Remember, darling, when you couldn't speak, how I worked with you and read books to you. Well, remember, now I'm not as sharp as I used to be, and be slower with me. And it just makes you cry because it makes you realize, yep, we've got to put ourselves back in check and say, boy, you sure did. You had all the patience in the world to teach us as young kids. We need to understand now it's all reversed. We need to do the exact same thing to them that they did to us.
Yes.
Respect, right? Back to respect.
It's a rush world. When I think back of when I was growing up, we didn't have all these, we didn't have sports, we didn't have piano lessons, we didn't have dance lessons, and so when you get into school and then all of a sudden there are all these extracurricular activities, parents are busy driving you here and driving you there. And we get into this mode of always being in a rush. And sometimes I have to remind myself, just stop and breathe.
Yes, breathe.
Breathe.
Breathe. It's very true. Again, generational talk, episode 4 with the silent generation. And one of those is Babs, right? Barbara Goldson. Texting at the dinner table is a no. I am so offended by that. We need personal connections. You are correct. I will see in a restaurant many times and I'll nudge Jim and go, those two haven't said one word and they've been here for an hour. They're just like into the phones. Remember the golden rule. No matter the generation you're in, what is the golden rule? Do unto others as you would have done unto yourselves, right? Okay, so Barbara says there should be a textbook on civility.
Yes. Well,
Right?
we have one to refer to, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're going to get into more about the civility aspects, the rules by George Washington. Rose, Monica, you need these two back. We could be here all day. This is great. My husband says customer service these days are horrible. That's a whole show right there. He walked into a fast food place and the gal asked, "What do you need?" As if she was put out. Oh, okay, Rose meant the tea spout. Yes, yes, yes. I haven't had enough coffee yet. She says, "Oh, you are going. Okay, I can't wait to see you." All right, we're going to take a quick break. I haven't seen comments, but it may have passed by. I need to hear from Jacque and Miranda and our younger generation. The majority of our younger generation might still be sleeping. So they'll watch this later. But can't wait to hear what Jacque and Miranda have to say about all this. We'll have more with Dianne Isbell and Jacqueline Adams when we return. Welcome to the mobile Monica version of the real Monica Adams Show at my favorite restaurant. There's something about a coffee house that's just very warm and welcoming.
Gives you that sense of community.
What are you most proud of since you've opened it?
I cry easily. I'm thankful for everybody here.
You opened the door during the middle of the pandemic. You got the best Italian restaurant in the United States. Here in St. Louis, you put us on the map. Does it scare you? You go through fear?
Terrifying.
So how do you get past the fear?
We find something to laugh about.
I always say this, Mama's in the room right now. Thank you for introducing me to a pool at a very young age. And they went from an above ground pool into an in-ground pool when I was in, I think, 7th grade. And from that point on, yes, I have felt spoiled, but I will tell you, it does take your life to another level, from an entertaining socialization aspect to the meditative aspect, to just relaxing by yourself on a float, maybe going out there reading a book. There's so many things that I love to do. Water calms me, and I think a lot of you might feel the same way. And if that's the case, maybe you want to get that, the fountain aspect to your pool. So it might not be your time this year, and you wouldn't be able to get it in before the end of summer anyway, but you might want to start talking about it for 2026, 2027. I know there's a lot of people that are getting their pools put in after having to be put on hold during the pandemic. That was so backed up. But I spoke with Madonna at Just Pools the other day, and she's like, yep, a lot of people are getting them put in or talking about what would it be like to have one at my house. Just Pools, make sure that it's them that put it in for you. They are located in Arnold at 3987 West Outer Road South, 636-464-7110. One of our many sponsors, and we'll put a crawl across here just a bit again, thanking each and every one of them. We could not do this show without them and without you watching. Thank you again each and every morning that you wake up with us. So Generational Talk 4, the silent generation speaks up. That's what we're doing this morning. And if you're just tuning in, let me introduce you to Mrs. Dianne Isbell and Mrs. Jacqueline Adams. Again, we're talking about respect here. So Miranda's been commenting. Again, she is moderating this morning, and I've seen some comments that she has had back. She said, yes, everyone should treat people with respect, regardless of the generation they belong to. We need to have respect and empathy for each other. This is from Miranda. She said, we need to have more cross-generational conversations. I think that would help us all understand each other better. Wow, very good point. And again, any comments that you're seeing that say my name right now, they're all coming from Miranda. So that's her speaking directly to you. Other comments coming in. Dawn said, if I encounter someone, ladies, like that, I just smile and try to say kind things, compliment them. We never know what people are going through. I guess I don't take it personally. We need joy in our life, and I try to bring joy into others. That is true, but it comes back to, if you feel someone's really, really grumpy and angry, keep smiling. Keep trying to give them a compliment. Try to change the course of their day. Now, okay, Jeannie said earlier she feels the younger generation is angry. And I said, well, why? She said, angry as they are learning by the poor example from political-driven agendas and people in the limelight, aka Hollywood. They see they can express themselves that way as well, and it's acceptable. Remember, we went back to what movies, and music are saying is okay. And if you hear that over and over and over again, if it's on the radio and it's acceptable, if it's in movies and it's acceptable, if parents are allowing kids to watch the movies and not saying that there's anything wrong with it, it becomes acceptable. I will tell you, growing up, she wouldn't dare have let us watch a movie with a cuss word, let alone anything that would show nudity.
Yes.
It goes back to respect. Okay, Zach says regarding titles, I don't think it's an age thing or a generation thing. I don't think I've ever introduced myself as Mr. Kimball. Okay, we'll go back to that. So no, when you were in your 20s, so he's in his mid 20s, you wouldn't at that point have introduced yourself as that.
No.
But let's ask this though. So it's a good point, Zach. If he's being introduced by someone to a 7-year-old being introduced to Zach, is there a certain age where you become a Mr. and a Mrs.? That's a good point.
I think that's a good point, but I think at any young age, I think their parents should tell them, this is Mr. Zach.
Mr. Zach, okay.
Mr. Zach.
And so Miranda, who is 21.
21.
So Miranda's 21. So if a 7-year-old was introduced to Miranda, is it Miss Miranda?
Miss
I think
Miranda,
so.
yes.
Not Miranda, because she still is older.
Yes.
Okay. What do you think about that, Zach? Okay. We'll let him weigh in on that one. He said, I've been introduced as Mr. Zach before. I like that.
Yes.
Okay. So there's your first, I got to chill. That's your first title.
Yes.
Then it becomes Mr., Mrs., or Ms., right?
Yes.
So I have a friend who started a podcast called Legacy Over Labels. What do you think about those two comments? So labels that people are given in life, and then the legacy that you leave.
I think it's all important that we leave a legacy of trying to make the world a better place. Each one of us has that responsibility because we were put here by God, and God wants us to be good people, share what we know with others, and not be irresponsible about it, but help other people. That's what it's all about.
Because don't you think, and we can do this from a clothing standpoint, even though we are all fashionistas, the label, though, is not the thing that matters. What matters is that, and you have this in your notes, right?
Yes.
A person could have a $5,000 Hugo Boss suit that is all wrinkled and they're disheveled looking. And somebody else could be like, oh, I can only afford a $100 suit that I found at a thrift store, but they are well put together. Which one are you more going to respect?
The $100 suit.
Yeah.
And they wear it proudly with good posture.
Because he feels good and proud that he has.
Well, they took the time to press it. They took the time to put a pocket square in, right? They took the time to put cufflinks in, whatever they have to look proper. Well, here's a lost art, shining their shoes.
Oh, yes.
Does anybody that's a younger generation even understand that? Men and young boys would regularly shine their shoes. A lot of that was learned in the military.
Yes.
And that's
But
where
they
respect
that
is.
too. But the other thing that I wanted to mention is that sometimes I think that, I don't know, we just need to feel good about ourselves, express that to other people, and how we treat ourselves is how other people are going to treat us and how we treat them. And so even from little children on, I know we talked recently about going to a restaurant and having children run all over the place and they're screaming and everything. Oh my goodness, that was a no-no if we did that when we were little. No, and table manners. I do a lot of presentations and teaching at corporations and universities. And these younger people don't understand that if you go for an interview, a lot of times it's let's meet for breakfast, let's meet for lunch, and then we'll go to my office and we'll have the official interview. If you don't pass the test with knowing which fork to use, you are in trouble, and the rest of it is perfunctory because businesses need people that are well-rounded in all kinds of good manners and etiquette.
Let me ask this from being at a table. How many of you, Miranda's in here with me and Zach can type or he can shout out to me. How many of you in the younger generation were taught to not put your elbows on the table?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay, good. Miranda said yes. So to this day, do you still not put your elbows on the table?
I try not to.
Yeah.
You can. There's one caveat. You can
Okay.
say that there's a big distance between you and I when we're sitting at the table and there's a lot of noise going around. It is permissible in between the different courses for me to lean
To
over
lean
with
over
my
and
elbow on the table so that I can talk to you without falling on the floor.
Okay, there's one caveat to that. Okay, again, all these things though that we know that we're taught again from generation to generation, but sometimes lose a generation in that. Zach says, going back to saying no problem instead of you're welcome when someone says thank you. I've heard that this stems from a generational difference, that the older generation sees help as something that is given, while the younger generation sees help as something that's expected.
different than entitlement.
Oh, there's the entitlement again. Right. I'm going to tell you what, I don't think that the thank you and you're welcome should ever leave
No,
any
should
generation.
never, yes.
That is a talk and a language that we all should know.
Mhm.
Thank you, you're welcome. Thank you, you're welcome. Jeannie, I have joy when I see an individual that appears troubled, shy, etc. I find something and say, I love your hair, I love your
Yes,
shirt, I love your smile. It absolutely makes their day.
Yes.
And she also said, too many live by the label and all are about material things. Good comments. Oh, yes. Rose, Chick-fil-A, my pleasure.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
My pleasure.
Oh,
My
yes.
And my pleasure is absolutely, I have no problem with that one. If they don't want to say you're welcome, but say my pleasure,
Mhm.
And they
it's
are
my pleasure to serve you is really
Yes.
what that would be.
and they are genuinely sincere about it.
Yes.
I love Chick-fil-A. Now I'm
Yes.
hungry. Thank you, Rose. Okay, before we wrap up, we're going to take a quick final break. When we come back, I want to hear a little bit more from George Washington's
Okay.
civility. So we're going to have Dianne leave us with some of these because, again, he wrote these when he was only 16. So that's
Yes.
saying a lot in the mindset of a teenager, how
Yeah.
different teenagers were then
Well,
to
and
now.
how he was raised.
How he was raised. It all has to do with how he was raised, right? Okay, one final break, and then we'll come back with Mrs. Isbell and Mrs. Adams.
This lady got me in the best shape of my life. I literally didn't know that I could be in shape like that. But the amount that she pours into her clients, and especially whenever you get the one-on-one training, it's mind-blowing. I mean, it was really life-changing. I learned so much about proper form, about nutrition, about just being able to invest in myself. I hired Monica to be my personal trainer, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen, and kids alike, all generations. I can't wait for more of you to get up and see this show and weigh in. So Dianne is looking right now at the book that George Washington wrote when he was 16 years old. And we're actually going to let her end with some of those, but let me hear from a few more of you. Terry says, this is a hard one to follow through with, all generations. Never judge a book by its cover. I feel that is a fine line because the minute that we see people not dressed to the nines, we somewhat judge them until exchange of words or see the goodness in those that don't appear or dressed appropriately. It's very hard to not judge. So in line with that respect is something that is taught and we learn as years go by. Debbie says, I had a young boy hold the door open for me going into the grocery store yesterday. He was about 10 years old.
Oh.
I turned and said, thank you. And also said, your mother raised you right. Yes. Jeannie says, thank you, beautiful ladies. Have a fabulous day. Yes, we could absolutely bring the two of you back. We would go on for hours if we could, but we've got to go over and shoot our Foodie Friday segment. So I'm going to let Dianne, because she did a lot of work with this, read us some more from the wonderful George Washington.
Okay, here is rule number 22. Show not yourself glad at the misfortune of another, though he were your enemy. How true is that?
Yes.
I mean, that doesn't do anyone any good to further exasperate their problem. In writing or speaking, give to everyone, every person his due title according to his degree and the custom of the place, which we've talked about. Another one here is...
I like rule number 1. Every action done in company ought to be done with some sign of respect to those that are present.
Yes.
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 How many times have we witnessed a heated verbal conversation in public, which is embarrassing to everyone, Dianne says?
Oh, yes.
yes.
It makes you uncomfortable.
Oh,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes, you
Definitely.
just cringe.
But that's also respect from parents to children, and they're disrespecting their children sometimes. And it's, it's when they walk out of church.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about the clothes, right? Number 7 was put not off your clothes in the presence of others, nor go out of your chamber half dressed. So
Yes.
think about this next time that you're going to church, you're running up to a grocery store. Mom always taught me, I don't care where you're going, look presentable. presentable,
Yes,
right?
definitely. Definitely. I remember when I was working for the government, we traveled on weekends in order to get to DC for a briefing or something on Monday. And I always wore a suit, just what I would be wearing the next day. And some of my team members were in sweats, and they said, what are you doing? And it's, well, first of all, when the government is paying for my ticket, I am representing the United States
Amen.
government. And when I'm sitting next to someone in the seat and they ask me what I do, they will have a better impression of me and the United States government if I'm
Yes.
dressed properly. And besides that, if my luggage is lost, I can come to that briefing tomorrow wearing this because I have my face in my purse and my toothbrush.
Yes.
Right.
What are you going to do?
But it's a good point, and I've taught this to my team. Remember, you're always representing
Yes,
me
right.
and yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
You're a brand. I'm a brand. We are a brand together. You also say, wear not your clothes foul, ripped, or dusty, but see they be brushed once every day at least, and take heed that you approach not to any uncleanliness. That's number 51. A lot of it having to do with presentation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just personal hygiene.
Oh boy, that's a whole nother one.
Yeah.
Please take a shower and wash your hair and brush your
Yes.
hair and brush your
Yes.
teeth. What else stands out?
Here's
to you?
another one. Put not another bite into your mouth till the farmer be swallowed. Let
Oh.
not your morsels be too big for the jowls.
That's number 97. How many are in there? 100 or more?
110.
110?
110.
99. Drink not too leisurely nor yet too hastily. Before and after drinking, wipe your lips. Breathe not then or every with too great a noise, for it is uncivil. You actually said this, and from a nutrition standpoint, we actually teach this. You said your quiet grandfather used to chew every mouthful 20 times
Yes.
before he swallowed. There are some dietitians out there that say that you're supposed to keep chewing until it's liquid.
Yes.
Think about how slowly you would have to eat.
Wow.
But they say it's better for digestion. You've
It
heard that
is.
before?
But how embarrassing to be with someone who is eating like, just
Yes.
shoving it in their mouth.
They make you
ooh,
anxious.
yes.
It's like, okay, I guess you're in a hurry. We talked about foul language before. Again, when another speaks, be attentive yourself, disturb not the audience. If any hesitate in his words, help him not nor prompt him without desired, interrupt him not nor answer him till his speech is ended. That has to go back to listening.
Listening. We
Yes.
talked about that before it started today. Jackie, tell them about your friend who,
Oh,
when you talked to her, she was
yeah,
looking
I'm trying
somewhere
to,
else.
and it
Oh.
was one of my best friends at work. And I can't think
Don't
of
say
her
the name. No, we don't need to say names.
Say no name. But she would ask you a question or she would ask you something, and then you go to give her the answer, and her head's going around looking for people and whatever. And I'm going,
What-
why did you ask me the question if you don't want the answer?
It's not that. You know what? This is a good one, and I know we could. I'll leave it for you to continue to talk about as we wrap the show up. I believe it is, as Dianne mentioned earlier, we are in such a rushed society that people are not in the present. They do ask you a question, but they're so quick to think, I have this to do, I have that to do, I've got laundry to do, I got to get home, I got this to make and that to make. But she's even called, and again, there's no need for names, someone within our own family of, okay, I can tell that you're not listening. The greatest thing you can do is stop talking. Silence
Yeah.
makes people uncomfortable, but also makes them aware.
Mhm.
Oh, shoot, I did just ask him something, didn't I? Yeah, no, go on. I am listening. No, you're not. But
No,
that's
you're
okay.
not.
It's okay. You're in another world right now. So don't
Yes.
ask if you don't actually want
Or
to
you
know
can
it.
actually say, "Oh, I'm sorry, you seem distracted. Is there a problem? What, you know?"
Because you'll make them uncomfortable. Go,
Well,
oh,
I
yeah.
mean, but it helps them focus. Like maybe there is, and maybe they'll share that with you, so you can help make them feel better.
Mhm. Because when you do speak with someone, look them in the eye. And then have that true conversation. We'll go back to that. Stop burying yourselves in these. The good thing about social media, it allows us to come to you today and every day. So there
Oh,
are
yes.
many benefits of social
Yes.
media. There are
Very.
benefits of grandmas and grandpas being able to
Yes.
talk to their grandchildren all over
Yes.
the world via Zoom. So technology is a beautiful thing. Again, best friend, worst enemy. Okay, ladies, so which one are you going to pick? You want to let Dianne pick today?
Yeah.
Okay, so 100 Days to Freedom books, and then we'll tell you what's on tap for the rest of the week. So from fear and anxiety, from shame, overeating, anger, or depression.
Let's talk about depression. There are
Oh.
some people out there, the world is so devastating to them right now. Maybe they need a pepper upper.
And look, it matches my dress.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Okay, 100 Days to Freedom from Depression. And then we'll wrap up and we'll let you know, by the way, how you can follow Dianne Isbell, find out more about her hats, all the wonderful things she does, maybe where you can get an etiquette class for you or your kids. So day 33, ladies, live for today. Give us this day our daily bread. Matthew 6, verse 11. Sometimes it's easy to focus on everything but the present. We might find ourselves constantly living in a mild state of stress about the future. Will I have enough? Will this circumstance or that trial work out? Or we might be living in regrets of the past, fixating on events that can't be changed. Living in the present isn't easy, but Jesus knew that. In fact, in Matthew 6, Jesus taught the disciples to ask God for their daily bread. Scholars have examined these words, trying to determine what in the world did Jesus mean. Some believe he was referring to the food that they actually ate. Others believe Jesus was referring to everything they needed for that day. Either way, these words are a reminder that our thoughts and our prayers should be focused first on God, remembering that he is the ultimate provider. Second, on the certainty that he will give us what is sufficient for this day. Today is safe in his hands, and we can entrust tomorrow to him as well. So God's asking us to be in the moment. Crazy that you picked this, Dianne. We just talked about this. Not distracted by ruminations of the past or worries about the future, but centered right here, right now on today. In doing so, we have a better chance of managing what's right in front of us. And as life unfolds, we can respond in a way that's healthy and appropriate, leaving us nothing to regret. So Abraham says the ability to be in the present moment is a major component of mental wellness. Roy Bennett says if you want to be happy, do not dwell in the past. Do not worry about the future. Focus on living fully in the present. And Mother Teresa, yesterday is gone. Tomorrow has yet not come. We have only today. Let us begin. That's a good one. Here's your prayer for today. Lord, I give you today. Please help me quiet my mind and focus on what you have presented in front of me at this time and place. Amen. How fitting, Dianne.
Perfect.
Oh my goodness. That was like the most wonderful one. So Dianne was just asking about Thursday at the Tea Spout. She wanted to know if in fact they had an actual tea, right? A true sit down tea. They do have the teapots and all this, but it's not what probably in your mind what a tea is.
Yeah.
Maybe you should talk to her about having one.
Yeah,
She's
maybe.
really open to all
that
these
would be a
wonderful
good
things are
idea.
coming.
Oh, and that
So the
would be
Tea Spout you're going to fall in love with. They are in Chesterfield. Amber Hamilton is the owner. We have so many parts of the show that we're going to do from 11 to 12. And let me stress, we will not have a 7 o'clock show Thursday morning. So don't look for us on Thursday at 7. We will instead be coming to you live from the Tea Spout at 11 a.m. And I would love to see as many of you in person as possible. Again, she booked us for a mobile Monica. So please come, even if it's a quick I'm going to grab a tea on the way out, grab a quick coffee. If you've never tried mushroom coffee or mushroom tea, it's amazing. Ask Jim. He had mushroom coffee with a little pistachio creamer in it. I had a mung bean quinoa wrap the other day. The food is so clean. You just feel good about yourself. And then what she's going to teach you and educate you, it's going to be awesome. But they also are going to talk about some upcoming events like maybe yogas or poetry, music, maybe a
Probably
true tea.
That would be
So come and talk to her. I can guarantee you she would love the idea of that. So that's Thursday. Tomorrow, though, so I had something called a cool peel done. All right. I had a lot of you say, Monica, I can't believe you've never done this. I did with Dr. Shadi Hawatma from Osiris Med Spa. I had put it off, ladies, because I had heard from other people, it hurts. Oh my gosh, it feels like a rubber band that smacks you in the face. And I just kept thinking, what about that? Sounds fun. Finally, he came back to me and said, no, when it's done right, no, it does not hurt. And then you'll have this baby soft skin. I'm going to let Dianne, because did you feel it? It feels like a baby's butt.
It looks like it.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
I mean,
Am I
it does
glowing?
nice and, yes,
They
I
said that
noticed
there's a
that.
glow and then there's this softness in your skin, but it also, from a health standpoint, if there's damage underneath the outer layer, it brings it to the surface and then it lightens it. So if you have age spots, dark spots,
Ooh.
freckles, acne, scarring, yeah, pretty amazing. So I'm going to show you all of that. And I want to thank Gabriel Bell and Miranda Devers for filming that for us. And then Zach Kimball is going to edit it all together. We're going to bring that to you tomorrow morning, then the Tea Spout at 11 on Thursday. And Foodie Friday is going to be done with Foodies Eat First. So a local influencer is bringing us this incredible food festival. And evidently the chef, as of late last night, moved around a little bit. We were going to feature somebody with Creole. You can go to the food festival coming up in the middle of August and experience so many different restaurants and chefs. But this one, I believe, is called Bougie Bites, and it's vegan.
Oh.
She's not vegan, but they're introducing a little bit more of plant-based lifestyle. So a full week on tap. And then if you have guests, which Dianne does a wonderful job of, I got a guest for you. Do what she's done. Shoot me an email at info@therealmonicaadams.com. Look at, she's so
And in
sweet.
closing, I would like to give you
She's so
flowers to brighten your day, and thank you for your time with me today.
Oh, my own, they
and the
smell
fun that
incredible.
we had.
We love fresh flowers on set. So
Yeah.
we'll put
There
them,
you go.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, how about we bring them to the tea spout and put them on the tables where we're talking?
great.
I'd love that. You're so sweet. Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you for having me.
And so tell everybody where they can follow you. So when they need that beautiful hat.
Well, you can go to my website at www.hatsbydianne.com, and it's 2 N's in Diane.
Yes.
Or just call me. My cell phone is 618-978-2150. Text me, whatever. Any time of the day, it seems like, is applicable because I'm up late every night.
You really are. I will wake up to some emails and I'm like, it's 1:00 in the morning. We're looking at some of your gorgeous hats, by the way. So obviously she's
good.
always really busy when it comes around time for Derby time. And then what is the other big event that's in St. Louis that people...
The Forest Park Forever Hat
Yes.
Luncheon, which is in June. And right now
Oh.
I'm booked up through December with different events. So people are wearing hats more and more.
I love
the
it.
holidays are coming.
I wish
and-
I used to
You know I love hats.
Yes.
Love hats.
We need to get you more hats.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got a hat that she's going to design for me. My beautiful clients
Yes.
bought me a certificate. I came across a certificate the other day. I was like, oh, that's right. I've got to do this.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies, so very much.
Thank
I
you.
greatly appreciate it. And to all of you, thank you for watching, and just start thinking about it some more. Again, share the ideas that these ladies talked about, because really all it was that they just want their generation to be able to speak to yours and for you to understand where they're coming from. And then please come back and talk with them. And I'll tag Dianne and my mom in it and say, oh, somebody said this about one comment or another. Let's just get to talking and have more respect for each other. Love you all so much. Tomorrow, a cool peel. What's it all about? We'll let you know. Remember what we always say. You can be anything you want in the world, but before you're anything,
Be kind.
yeah. God bless you all.